Hello and welcome to Five Nerds Go. We're back. It's been a while. Apologies for anyone who's been waiting on the edge of their seat for the next podcast. The last time you heard from, not necessarily me, but the group of Five Nerds Go was the WWE podcast we did a few weeks back. We did have plans to do a payback podcast and then subsequent WWE reviews, but things have fallen to the wayside a little bit, so apologies for that. But we are back, and we're trying something new tonight. I'm joined by one familiar voice and a newbie. So I'm joined tonight by Paul Tolley and Declan Kenny. Evening.
Good evening.
Evening.
Deck, I'm always so tempted to put an O at the end of your name, to put O Kenny or something. Just to make it sound a little bit more Irish. I sound more Irish than you.
It's the Irish version of my name is O'Kenny, so there you go.
Okay, I'll have to do that in the future then. So as I said, we're trying. Our normal podcasts have all been wrestling focused, and whilst there may be some wrestling chat on here, because we do spend a lot of our time talking to one another about wrestling. But we're going to try and talk about films and TV, a few other bits and pieces, and just have a chat and try and see where that leads us tonight. I thought it'd be interesting to do a bit of background about us first, because not a lot of people know. We don't really know each other very well. The group that makes up the Five Nerds Go. Most of us have never even met one another. Very few and far between that we actually let one another meet the other. So really, this is our good chance to learn more about each other, before we dare step inside the same room. So tonight, it's our opportunity to learn a bit more about what people think about films, TV, a few other subjects. Like we've said, it's all opinions. We're not experts on this. We're just fans, and we just want to talk rubbish for a bit and see where it takes us. So, as I've said, we're going to talk about films first, and I set you all some homework before the podcast, and I gave you a list of some film trailers to watch earlier. I'm going to start with the one that I enjoyed the least, and that's because I'm a big scaredy cat, or there was another phrase that I think, Deck, you used earlier to describe me. And I'm going to talk about It. Fucking hell, it was horrible. That's all I can say.
It's a bit of an unsettling trailer, wasn't it?
A little bit.
I felt very on edge watching it.
I'm not particularly scared of clowns, or I didn't think I was. I haven't got something back to my childhood that means that I'm scared of clowns, but I was really on edge watching that. I don't know if it's the mixture of the clowns, the children, knowing the underlying story of where they're going with it. It was just a really hard 4 minutes of watching for me. It's not one that I'm going to be running to the cinema to watch. What did you think, Deck?
I thought the trailer was great. The music I think it was more the music than the clowns or the children in it. Well, I loved the original, so I can't wait to go see this one.
Did you watch the TV series when it was out?
I didn't think there was a TV series, was there?
Was it? Because I remember from my childhood there being a short series on it. I don't remember I remember the book, obviously the Stephen King book, but I thought there was a Sky series or something it was set over 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah, there was a series. I remember seeing bits of it. I've not seen the original film, but the series rings a bell.
I've never seen the series. I looked that up.
Well, I remember it being on and me being too young and my parents not allowing me to watch it. And having watched that trailer this afternoon, I'm really pleased they didn't let me watch it, because I would still not be sleeping to this very day.
It's only clowns. I don't know how people are so afraid of clowns.
It's only clowns that drag people into sewers,
Yeah, that's what clowns do.
Is that what clowns in Ireland do, is it?
We have a different meaning for clowns over here.
I thought I like the style of the trailer. It reminded me of Stranger Things, or that kind of Goonies vibe with the kids on the bikes and them off to try and solve a mystery. But it very soon took a dark turn that I wasn't particularly comfortable with. And I
You
don't know
didn't
what
watch the first trailer, did you?
What was the first one then?
The first one kind of, it parodied it showed a bit more stuff that was kind of in the original, but I think if you didn't like the second trailer, don't watch the first one. It's 10 times worse.
Well, this trailer opened with them kind of going into the sewers, finding a few bits and pieces, a shoe with a girl's name on, and then a balloon started to drift towards them as they heard a clown laughing. And I was already closing one eye at that point and going behind the sofa.
I think it was when the boy was calling his brother down into the sewer that got me. That really freaked me out.
Yeah.
You see a lot more than the first trailer. You see how he gets sucked into the drain, his little brother, and then at the end you see him standing there in front of him when he's supposed to be dead for, I think, a couple of months or something.
Is that when his little paper boat goes off down the water and...
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And he smacks his head, and then he looks in the sewer and he sees Pennywise.
You see Pennywise, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably the most iconic scene of the the original as well, so... It's interesting how they do it and how your man takes over from Tim Curry, who was just freaky anyway.
Who's playing the clown? Who is it who's playing Pennywise this time?
Oh, he has like a kind of Swedish Norwegian-y name. I can't put my finger on it.
Is it the guy out of Hannibal?
No, I think he's a younger bloke.
Mags. Oh, right, okay. I haven't, because today's the first time I've really taken interest in the film. I knew it was there or thereabouts. I couldn't even tell you when it's coming out. I just know to avoid the cinema at that point.
I think the marketing, the way they've done it, because he's supposed to appear every 27 years or something, and they're actually releasing it 27 years after the original film. So
it's got an audience that have obviously been crying out for it because the books and the TV series were very successful. And like you say, if they're doing it 27 years after the original, then that's again brilliant marketing. I don't think it's the audience it's going for, because I don't like scary movies. I once stayed up late on a Friday night, I remember, and I accidentally put Channel 4 on. I was probably hoping for some dirty movie that was on the early hours or something, the way you used to.
Denise has a red triangle.
And a film, I think it was called Wolf Creek or something, came on.
Yeah.
And I remember being glued to the screen, and for some reason I couldn't turn it off, and I think that was the last actual scary movie I watched.
I had a similar experience. I think The Fly scarred me for years when I was a kid. I think that was Channel 4's fault as well.
Yeah,
I grew up watching horror, so they don't really bother me.
Well, I had a babysitter when I was younger who used to come round, and if we wouldn't go to bed, this isn't going to take a horrible turn. Don't worry, this isn't the.
Should pull you into a sewer.
He used to watch the Nightmare of Elm Street films. So it used to be, well, you don't have to go to bed, but you have to watch this film if you're going to sit down here. And I remember staying up for about the first 20 minutes of one of the films and then running upstairs to my bedroom. So it kind of scarred me for life there. So I've never been a huge scary movie fan.
Yeah,
I love Blair Witch.
Night.
I like that, but that's because you don't really see anything, and it's just, I think it's the...
But would that not be scarier because you're kind of waiting for something, but it never comes?
I know, but then because people say Blair Witch, it's all in your imagination, and my imagination's really dull and boring, so maybe that's why I was...
I think the better horror films are the ones that leave it to the imagination. And what I liked about the It trailer was it does have a very 80s vibe to it, and all of all of the horror is implied, isn't it? You don't actually see anything nasty.
Except for
not on the trailer.
No, yeah, not in the trailer.
No.
Well, I don't like, if I can remember the original, there isn't actually, there's no murders or slashing or stabbing. It's just all kind of just creepy. It just builds it up. But then I think the clown turns into a big giant spider. That kind of ruined everything for me. I don't know if they're going to do it on the new one, but hopefully not.
I hope you haven't just thrown out a massive spoiler there to all the people that haven't seen the TV, read the books and want to go and see the movie. You know, the thousands of people that will be listening to this podcast.
They say Spider and it's Spider-Man. He turns into Spider-Man.
That would be a really weird segue into the Marvel series. The Unknown Avenger, Pennywise. So the two of you, will you be going to the cinema to watch it?
Probably not. My wife doesn't like it, so.
You'll have to wait for it to come out on DVD.
She'll probably watch it on Showbox or something on her phone, so.
Oh, wait,
the comfort of the room upstairs.
What about you, Paul?
Yeah, I think I'll wait for it to come on to Channel 4.
Yeah, probably. I might. I'm definitely not going to go to cinema to see it. I don't as often as I would like, and I wouldn't want to waste one of those journeys on a movie that's going to scar me to my very soul. Okie doke. Well, we'll move on from that one. Should we try and maybe touch on a lighter kind of film this time? Should we go for Disney Pixar's latest iteration of the Cars franchise with Cars 3?
Yeah.
It seemed like a fairly basic premise. Lightning McQueen is getting older. He's not as fast as he used to be. There's a newer, hotter, quicker car on the scene. What did you think of the trailer? Did it whet your appetite?
It's relatable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, as I hurtle towards 40. So what did you two think? Obviously, you've both got children or a child, Paul, in your case. Is it one that you'd take your children to?
Oh yeah, they love the first. Well, they love the first one. The second one, I think they kind of messed up a bit on that one, but the third one looks more like the first one. And the youngest son is crazy about cars and stuff, so you're definitely going to see that.
Yeah, I agree. The second one was a bit Scooby-Doo, wasn't it? The ending.
Yeah, with your man being a fucking spy and all that kind of stuff. It was ridiculous.
Is that where they go to London?
Yeah. London, and he was the guy who ended up being the bad guy was somebody who was trying to push bio oil or something on the world, and it all seemed a bit Scooby-Doo. He would have got away with it if it wasn't for the pesky kids.
I've never got into cars. I've never really been on board with the premise.
What is it? Why not?
Doesn't believe in talking cars.
They're cars, aren't they? They're cars with eyes. It's weird. Like, I don't know why when it's Toy Story or something like that, I can buy into it. They're inanimate objects, but they're toys. They got feelings. The cars I don't get. Like, where's the driver?
Well, everything dog and all cars have eyes.
The hills have eyes. I'm not sure about the car. It's a weird premise if you think about it too deeply, Paul. I think that's the problem. You're trying to look too deeply into the reasoning behind the movie. Definitely, when it is weird that sometimes there are some cars that have humans driving them, and then there are other cars that don't and can talk quite freely, and it's like some movies that are based around animals, where you suddenly see that they also keep animals themselves, but they're not talking animals, they're dumb animals, and it's very strange how you split the two.
Realise it's always boards that are stupid. Like in Nemo, the boards were developed, and it's usually boards or fish in other films. Like, I don't know how they pick and choose which film or which animal is tick for this one, or Kids loved them.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a lead bird in a film? An intelligent lead bird?
Rio.
Rio? Oh, yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I can't think of any other films that are based around
Rio 2.
well, yeah.
Criminally underrepresented. Underrepresented. That'll
Well,
be the next Oscars for Rory.
You need to
The Angry Birds
that,
film.
that wasn't a female. That wasn't. Well, yeah, that was. But yeah, you need to write a strongly worded letter to Disney and Pixar and tell them to pull their finger out. We need more bird-based movies.
I'll let you write that one.
So will you be going? So I reckon I'll be going to see this one because my kids both love cars. They loved both the films up to now. I think, as Dex said, he'd be going. Paul, is this one that you'll be taking your daughter to?
Yeah, I'm sure I'll end up seeing it at some point.
Yeah, I think it's one of those films. It's one of those franchises. It's kind of hard to avoid if you've got kids.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to a movie that, and based on our discussions earlier on, I think Dec was really looking forward to watching the trailer. So, King Arthur.
Yes. Looks brilliant. I say that on my cheek.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that sarcasm in your voice I can hear then?
To be fair, I watched the trailer properly and it doesn't look the worst film. It can't be as bad as the other King Arthur film with, what's her name? The actress, Keira Knightley. Wasn't she in one a couple of years ago?
No, was that a King Arthur movie, was it?
I think it was, yeah. And she had the little kind of leather boob tube type thing and she was like a warrior princess or something in it.
Okay. It doesn't ring a bell. I'm not big on my Keira Knightley films. I'm not the massive fan of hers. I thought this was an okay trailer. I know it may have sounded like I was winding you up on Messenger earlier, but I thought it looks like a typical Guy Ritchie kind of film. The way it's filmed, where it's cutting backwards and forwards. It did remind me of like Sherlock Holmes and the Lock, Stock and that other kind of stylized film that we love to do.
I think it's more the colours of the film. All his films kind of have a certain weird colour about them. Or is that just me?
No, I see where you're coming from. It looked like a PlayStation 3 game to me.
Yeah, I think the use of CGI on it probably can do that. It has a metallic tinge to it. I don't know if that's what you mean by the colour, that it has that kind of strange tinge to it where it looks a bit like they're trying to make it too stylized. So all of the characters in it kind of stand out. So they've got like someone who's gone round the outside of them with a black felt tip just to make sure that you can stand them out from everyone. It won't be everyone's cup of tea. It's obviously not a retelling historically of the King Arthur story, but I can see that Game of Thrones fans and some other, that kind of ilk, people will latch onto this. I think it's something that you could go and switch off for 2 hours or however long it's going to be and kind of enjoy it, because sometimes that's what movies got to be.
Yeah, you can see they try to do a kind of Game of Thronesy thing with like his father and getting killed and his mother getting killed and him getting sent off and coming back, and there's a kind of evil ruler that he has to overthrow that kind of befriends him and tries to get him to be all powerful or whatever. So I don't think I'll watch it.
Yeah. It's obvious, I think somebody's looked at the story behind King Arthur and gone, well, that's nice, but it's probably not going to sell us a lot of tickets. So if we just, jazz it up a little bit, put a bit of sex in, a massive elephant, that's kind of what we need, and we'll sell some tickets. I think it'll be big in the US. I think they don't mind our our history being bastardised so much, so they'll probably lap it up. I think the smarter UK fans may not react as positively.
There's some decent actors in it, like Eric Bana's in it, and Littlefinger out Game of Thrones, and like there's some decent actors in it. But, well, and David Beckham.
There's also David Beckham in it.
Has there ever been a really good kind of realisation of King Arthur's story on TV or film? I can't recall one.
I can't either.
Merlin.
Merlin. I watched one season of that and I nearly threw my television out the window.
Did you? I kind of enjoyed it.
Is Merlin in the new film?
I don't know. He wasn't referenced in the trailer from memory, but he must make an appearance.
He has to be somewhere in it.
Like you said, it didn't seem to reference the Arthur the traditional Arthur story at all, did it? Other than the Lady in the Lake. The rest
and
of
having a sword, a sword in the stone, a lady in the lake, and we've got a guy called Arthur. There you go. Everything else is kind of made
I think
up.
the best one they've probably done is the Disney one. Sword in the Stone? That's probably the best adaptation they've
Totally
done.
right.
That's not a kid's cartoon. Like, that's how bad it is.
Yeah, probably. But I think they know what their audience is, and that's what they've gone for. You know, the big budget US kind of movie. Guy Ritchie's really good at doing that. He's got a fan base with his Sherlock Holmes movies and the others. So, you know, does he have to the guys who really want a retelling from a history standpoint, or can he go for the big bucks and cast David Beckham and, you know, loads of CGI and he'll know he'll make money? I don't think he's after an Oscar, is he? He's not wanting one. He's not after a best.
I don't think he's going to get one for this anyway. If I've read the reviews, probably like they've been kind of slating, especially poor David Beckham's getting an awful life in the press at the moment because of his acting.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll have sleepless nights over that, you know.
And his bed of money.
Yeah. So, do you think you're going to see this?
No. I'll probably wait till it comes out to Sky Premiere.
What about you, Paul?
I don't think I'll ever see it.
I think I wouldn't pay to go and see it, but if it's on the telly, I would probably watch it and probably enjoy it because I could switch off and watch it quite happily and see kind of things being thrown around and being quite fast paced, which seems to be the way of telling a story at the moment. So I won't see it at the cinema, but I may watch it at a later date. Okie doke. Moving swiftly on, we'll do another kids movie just quickly, and then we'll focus on some of the superhero movies that probably tie in together. Despicable Me 3. What did you think?
Yeah, it didn't look too bad. Kind of better than the Minions movie anyway, which was absolutely terrible. I enjoyed the first and the second one, and I like Steve Carell as Gru, and what's it, Drew or something as well, and his twin brother.
Yeah.
So the kids will probably want to go and see it, so I'll probably end up going to see it anyway, so might as well buy into it.
What do you think, Paul?
It looks like it's on its last legs. It looks like it's struggling for an idea this time round, with the introduction of the twin brother, the classic third movie introduction. I did like the look of. I've not seen the previous two, by the way, so I can't comment on that. But I like the look of the villain in this, the Balthazar Brat. I don't know if he's been in the previous ones, but that was entertaining in the trailer itself.
Isn't that one of the creators of South Park? Isn't he playing
the
baddie?
It was Trey Parker, wasn't it?
Trey Parker. I really enjoyed that sequence. I watched a few of the trailers today for Despicable Me 3, and I really enjoyed the ones that concentrated on Balthazar Brat. I wasn't too fussed with the brother storyline and how Drew gets back into criminality. I really enjoyed the dance-off scene between Balthazar and Gru. I thought that was quite good to watch.
Yeah, it did look really good.
Well, Gru kind of be turning into the cartoon version of The Big Show, doing turns every film.
I knew that we'd get wrestling in somewhere.
I don't even watch wrestling.
Nor do I, and we do a regular podcast on it, so you know.
The twin, I forgot, was it Brew or whatever the twins called?
Brew.
Just reminded me of Goldmember. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but that's what I thought straight away.
Probably. If you watch the other two and the Minions movie as well, there's lots of callbacks to other kind of Bond movies and even, you know, Goldmember and the Austin Powers stuff. So there's references throughout. I think the thing that the Minion movie struggled with is that there was too much Minion. The just Despicable Me films do well because they cut away to the odd Minion comedy bit and it works well going backwards and forwards, and then there's an overarching story throughout. But Minions were just all Minions, and it was too much. They get on your nerves after a while. So I think that the fact that the brand is back telling using a method of storytelling that they're more used to with using Gru and the Minions kind of going backwards and forth will work better. My kids will lap it up either way. They've got, you know, cuddly toys, unicorns, the lot, everything to do with Despicable Me. So there is no doubt in my mind at all that I will be going to see this movie probably on multiple occasions.
Yeah, the three little girls in it are quite funny. In the first two films anyway. So I'm glad to see them three back, especially the smallest one, the one with the unicorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's probably the funniest out of the three of them. So, but as I said with the Minions, it was just too much yellow.
Yeah.
And they kind of told the story, how they got the Gru at the end, but it was just way too much. They needed kind of the old team back to kind of bring the franchise back. It's kind of torn into a bit of a film with the ogre in it. Shrek. Like, what are they on the 5th or 6th film or something now in Shrek? And they're kind of really struggling for ideas at the moment. And as Paul said, like, bringing the twin brother into it, and they're kind of clutching at straws, and I think this probably could be the last one out of a lot.
Yeah, it's like the cartoon equivalent of the Fast and Furious series, really, isn't it? It's just how much can we drain from this?
Oh, that series will never die.
That means more and more money each time, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it made a couple of billion or something, the last one, and this one's they're going through the roof as well. That's crazy.
But I'm wondering where they'll go next, because every few films they need to bring in a new muscular skinhead. So they obviously had Vin Diesel, and then they've gone to The Rock. But I don't know how they then go up on a muscular skinhead level.
I think they're only making 10, so there's another 2 to go anyway. And then you'll probably have the spin-off films with The Rock and Michelle Rodriguez or something like that. So I don't think it's going to end at the 10th one anyway.
I've been reading today that The Rock's apparently seriously considering running for president in 2020. So you'll have to
Rock versus Kanye West.
I think legitimately, based on who's president at the moment, why not? Got as good a chance as anyone else.
Absolutely.
The Americans have an Oompa Loompa and we have a fucking leprechaun. You see the Irish president? He's like 2 foot tall and he talks like a leprechaun as well. Just stick a green suit on him. There you go. It's like stereotypical Ireland. Yeah,
That's probably what we want. That works well for us English.
That's how we get the Americans over. It's like, look at our president.
I'm not commenting. I'm just glad that it's the Irishman that's making fun of the Irish people.
I can be racist against us. You can't.
Right, so Despicable Me, yes or no? Do you think you're going to see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul, I'd recommend you see the others as well. I think
definitely
good family films.
I'll check them out.
Your homework for next one. You do a 2-hour podcast reviewing the Despicable Me and Minions series. Rightio. Moving on. Should we cover the DC area first? I think in order of release date, Wonder Woman's first, isn't it?
Yeah, that's out next month, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was a June release date. So I'm not a huge DC fan. I'm not that au fait with Wonder Woman as a character and her backstory. Do you want to give us a brief synopsis? I know you're more of a DC fan than I am, or are you just going to wax lyrical on Aquaman in a bit?
I'll try. Well, my wife's a huge Wonder Woman fan. We actually have a big poster of Wonder Woman when you walk into the house, so I think I know a little bit about her. But it's pretty much in the films. I don't know if they're doing the same as the comics, but the comics she was created by clay, by the gods, and she was kind of like raised on this island called Themyscira, like a kind of Amazonian princess island. And the way the film is going, it's like Steve Trevor's he's like an American pilot in World War One, and he crash lands and kind of brings her to the modern world where she kind of does a Captain America and fights the war for the Americans. But it looks good. Like the effects in it look great. I wasn't too sure about how your woman would get on because she didn't look big enough to be Wonder Woman. But from the Batman vs Superman film, like she kind of killed the last 20, 30 minutes of that film. So I think they'll do well in it. But as I said on the Facebook page, they haven't really pumped money into advertising it or kind of getting it out there that much, which is a bit weird because she's probably the first female superhero driven film. Even Marvel haven't done that yet, and they kind of haven't done anything to kind of get out there and make it as huge as it should be because she's probably the most iconic female superhero ever.
Yeah, it is a strange one. I saw when you mentioned that they haven't really done much advertising on it at all. I didn't realise it was out so soon. You know, when the trailer finished and it came out with the release date, I didn't realise it was coming up in June. From the trailer itself, I was fairly impressed. It looked like an interesting origin story, and then with, like you say, the pilot and taking her into kind of a modern war story. We were obviously first introduced to her from a film sense in the DC universe with Batman versus Superman, and like you say, she stole that film.
She did at the end. She was brilliant at the end of it.
So it is surprising that they haven't put more behind this movie, unless they're kind of saving all their work for the next movie, for the Justice League.
But should they really be doing that? Like, as you've seen with Marvel building up to the Avengers film, they kind of plugged the crap out of all the spin-offs like Captain America, Thor, and they made people want to go and see the Avengers film. But I don't know why, even, like as I said, it's the first female superhero film. Like, they should be ramping up to 11 pretty much to get all the little girls to see it and ask their nannies and daddies to bring them and like, give them a heroine to kind of look up to, but they actually haven't done anything.
Yeah, it's a massive opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is. crazy that they haven't.
And my daughter at the moment, she loves superheroes at the moment. She likes going into nursery dressed as Spider-Girl and stuff like that. So kind of, it would have been ideal to capture her. I know she wouldn't have watched the film yet, obviously, but to see all the toys out and the posters, massive opportunity wasted.
Do you think this kind of highlights where Marvel has the edge because they have kind of Disney behind them as well?
I don't think it's that. Like, I know Warner Brothers kind of got blamed on Batman versus Superman, the Suicide Squad. Even Suicide Squad, they kind of, for Harley Quinn, they advertised everywhere and did this for her, and she's like a psychopathic fucking killer. And then you have Wonder Woman, who's the pillar of justice and virtue, and she's an Amazonian princess, and she's holier than thou and stuff, and you don't give her anything. It's really baffling.
But DC is more of an adult kind of market that you would normally expect them to target, because Batman and Superman aren't necessarily your kid-friendly movies. Definitely Superman versus Batman was very dark. The Batman series with Christian Bale was very dark. So I'm just wondering
Batman's supposed to be dark, but Superman isn't. It's just the old Superman films with Christopher Reeve, and like, it was kind of bright and he was always like smiling and stuff, but they kind of just made him dark. I don't know why they're doing this whole everyone has to be dark and broody, and then now, since their films are kind of not flopping, they're making buckloads of money, but they're not doing as well as they should be. Now they're kind of trying to make them more colourful and trying to do what Marvel are doing, like bringing some comedy into it. But they shouldn't. They should just try and make their own thing. But I don't think they know how to make their own thing at this stage.
I think when the fact that Marvel's got such a strong hold in the market, and it's been their films they've been churning them out for quite a few years. I think maybe DC can't help themselves but look at that as a kind of yardstick and go, well, that's the model. We just need to follow that, and success will come quite easily. I completely agree. The trailer for Wonder Woman looked brilliant. I don't know anything about her backstory. I saw her in Batman Superman, but I was definitely sold on this trailer. I love superhero movies, but I wasn't really that fussed about going to see this before I watched the trailer. But I think I would definitely make a point of going to see it now.
I'll definitely go. I'll be dragged the first night it's out with the missus, but like, I want to go and see it myself because it reminds me of a lot of the first Captain America film. And I think I read somewhere in one of the reviews that it kind of does a lot what that did, like kind of give her a backstory and stuff, which is a good thing, which means they'll probably give her a second film, hopefully. If this film pans, what are they going to do with Justice League?
Yeah, definitely. It's a massive year for DC. This one. This will make or break their series of films. And the next 2 years for Marvel is huge, but I think they've already cemented themselves that it's going to be a success, and everyone is desperate for how the Infinity Wars, or whatever it's going to be called, runs. So in terms of the next movie, which leads from Wonder Woman, is the Justice League movie. This from the trailer, for me, it really, really felt like they were trying to do a Marvel movie. Like they'd seen the Avengers, and that was the kind of model they were trying to follow. It was a little bit trying to be too comedic for my liking. I don't know what you thought, Dec.
Yeah, especially the Aquaman kind of clips where he's on top of the Batmobile and stuff. He reminded me kind of like Thor in the Avengers films. Like,
yeah.
Kind of socially awkward, but he was kind of funny.
But you're a massive Aquaman fan.
I am, yeah. Huge. And this is like, I didn't really, when they first said Jason Momoa was going to play him, like, you're so used to seeing like a tall, blonde, white guy playing in his green bottoms and the orange top, and now they have this big Samoan kind of Carl Drogo. But he's growing into the part, and what I seen in the clips and stuff, and even to be honest, just watching Batman, Superman with my two sons in the movies, and just a little, was it 10-second clip of Aquaman in it, and that was it. It was like a giddy schoolgirl sitting in the cinema. So that's all I'm looking forward to, because his movie's coming out in 2018, so hopefully DC doesn't fucking fall flat on its face, or I'll never see an Aquaman movie.
Where does your love of Aquaman come from? Is it the comics, or is this?
It's the comics, yeah. I just picked one up when the new 52 comics came out. I started collecting, because he was always kind of the butt of the jokes, talks to fishes and stuff like that, from the 60s cartoons, which I have on DVD as well, by the way. And they've been trying for years and years, trying to kind of make people take him seriously. And then Jeff Johns, I think he's the head of DC now, he's kind of the head creative officer or whatever he's called. He kind of took over the comic and gave it a better storyline. And ever since then, I've started reading the old ones, and just grown and grown more in love with the character, if you can call it that.
Well, I'm
sounds quite gay.
Not at all. I think we all have characters within films or comics or books that we all can really, really relate to. I didn't really know anything about Aquaman. I'll be honest with you. The only time I think I'd seen reference to him would be in Big Bang Theory. I think when they dress up, and one of them's moaning about having to dress up as Aquaman. Paul, did you? Well, I know what you're going to say now, but what was your knowledge of Aquaman?
I genuinely thought Aquaman was a joke made up in Family Guy, because he appears in Family Guy quite a bit, and I just thought it was a superhero they'd made up because of his look, and like Dex said, the talking to fishes thing. I just thought it was a parody.
Yeah, that can't be real. That's ridiculous. That's definitely a parody.
So that was it was the superhero friend cartoon, and I think it was the 60s, and they made him into just the superhero that could talk to fish, and he couldn't kind of go, even in the comics, I think he had to stay a certain distance to water, or he'd dry out or something ridiculous. But then throughout the years, they tried to make him cooler and cooler, and he'd finally done it, which is great to see. But the joke, they even reference the fish talking jokes in the comics as well, just because that's what everyone thinks of him anyway. So
yeah, it would be interesting to see if they did something like that within the film, that they have kind of that reference point.
Well, they did it already in the clip.
Yeah, they did in the trailer.
Did they?
Yeah. When he has Batman up by the throat, and he goes, "I hear you talk to fish."
It's one of the last ones I watched. I must have been switching off at that point.
Trailer fatigue.
I thought visually the trailer looked really good, in terms of it didn't look as dark as Batman vs Superman, which I thought was good. I wasn't sure about the dialogue and the backwards and forwards, and it did seem a bit too comical. The meeting. Well, one problem I have is I watched the Flash TV series, so I know that Barry Allen. But obviously the film, they're using somebody different, which messed my mind slightly. I don't understand, because I'm used to that version of him. And also the meeting when Bruce Wayne meets Barry Allen really reminded me of when Tony Stark meets Peter Parker in the Homecoming trailer, or it might have been in one of the original Avenger movies. It
was in Civil War, wasn't it?
Yeah, it just really reminded me of that. The whoever you're looking for, you found the wrong guy or something, and then he does something that means he has to react.
He throws the batarang, and he stops time kind of thing, and then picks it out of the air.
Yeah.
I just think it's weird that he meets everyone and tells them who he is. Why Batman doesn't do that?
I like the remind me what's your superpower line, and he said I'm rich, which is kind of that sums up Batman to a T. That if it wasn't for his money, he wouldn't be anywhere near as successful a superhero.
Does that sound more Tony Stark than Batman?
But they in their grounding, they're probably quite similar superheroes. That they are. It's not about a superpower. It's more around their ability to develop tech because of their money. I suppose Tony Stark does more things himself, whereas Batman has a butler who is seriously overqualified.
Underpaid.
But
It'd
no,
be interesting to see what it's like and how it turns out. We could definitely go and see it because my oldest son is a huge Batman fan, so we're definitely there, and I'm a huge Aquaman fan, so my wife's a huge fucking Wonder Woman. We're all fucking nerds, so we'd be all there dressed as different characters to see it anyway.
Yeah, I don't know much about the origins of the Justice League. Like I said, I'm not a massive DC fan. I hadn't watched this trailer before today because I'm such a Marvel mark in terms of the Avengers. But I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to go and see it. Do you think? I don't want to give any for people who haven't seen Batman vs Superman. I don't want to ruin the end of that film. But do you think Superman will make an appearance in this movie or some kind of nod?
I think he has to. Because the Trinity is him, Wonder Woman and Batman. They're the first three kind of superheroes that came together before the Justice League. So he has to show up somewhere. Probably at the end to save the day or something like that. And they've already announced the Superman 2 film, so he has to return somewhere.
Yeah. An after credit kind of scene.
I don't think he'd even be that. I think they'll be probably halfway through it. He'll either turn up as a bad guy and then they turn him to good or something, or he'll come back and just beat the crap out of the main, I think it's Steppenwolf, is that who the baddie is in this one? I think he's Darkseid's main lieutenant, so I say he'll come back and bash him or something and save the day.
Yeah.
Because he's Superman and that's what Superman does.
Possibly. I think it would be, like I said, it would be a surprise if he wasn't there. Like you say, he would be expected to be part of that group. So I think I'm definitely going to go and see it. I can imagine that you're definitely going to go and see it.
Yep.
Paul, what about you?
No, it's unlikely I'd see it. If I was to see either of them, if I was making an effort to go see either of them, it would be the Wonder Woman film, just because it feels like it's something different in a bit of superhero overkill at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely a very different feel to that trailer. It's not just that it's as we said the first kind of female lead superhero. The feel of the trailer was also very different. It was more colourful. It was it intrigued me more.
Awesome.
The one thing I want to ask, because Wonder Woman looks like it's set in like the 50s, 40s or 50s, but then the Justice League's appears to be modern times. So how does that work? Are they?
She doesn't age. I think she's half god, so I don't think she ages.
Ah, right, okay.
There you go. That old chestnut.
And I think that if you went to see the Wonder Woman movie, it would probably whet your appetite to see the Jeff that came out, because I think it will probably lead on to it. I think that's what they're hoping for, that the audience that loves Wonder Woman will just follow her onto the next movie.
Who doesn't want to see a scantily cladded woman running around swinging a sword?
Well, apparently she's been getting grief though, because she said herself that she's been told that she shouldn't play Wonder Woman because her boobs aren't big enough. That's what the fans. That's the feedback on all of her appearances. Nothing about how good her acting has been and all of the scenes that she's done, but no, her boobs aren't big enough.
I just wanted to see Linda Carter in the film. I hope she's in the film. She was the original Wonder Woman in the TV show.
Yeah.
So hopefully to give her a nod, or she's kind of in there somewhere. That'll be pretty cool. But I haven't heard anything about her being in it yet, so
Well, it might be one of those ones that they just keep a secret and they, you know, like a Stan Lee kind of appearance that she's just in the background on the phone or something.
Hopefully. She could fill out the Wonder Woman dress back in the day, so.
We need to give you a minute, Deck.
A minute? A couple of seconds.
Wonder Woman was famous for having an invisible plane, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Did she have that in any? Yeah, she hasn't had that yet in the movies, has she?
Hopefully not. That'd be just ridiculous.
That's weirder than talking to fish.
Wasn't that in Family Guy as well, when she's flying around the invisible jet and she's sitting on the jackpot or something like that? It was some weird kind of nod to that one.
I don't think I've seen that one.
She's just squatting in the air and she's flying along and she's supposed to be having a shite or something.
So it sounds like TV gold to me. Okay, so
hack out the cinema if that happens.
Yeah. Moving on to the last, I think is this the last film that I asked you to have a look at the trailer? And it was a last minute addition to the list. Somebody messaged us to say, well, why don't you have a look at this one? So Spider-Man Homecoming. Initially when this one was announced, way back when we knew that Spider-Man was coming back, I wasn't particularly keen. It's another reboot of the franchise. I didn't take much notice of the films before when Tobey Maguire and the other bloke did it. But based on what we've seen so far, from his appearance in Civil War and from this trailer, I'm pretty excited about Spider-Man. What about you, Deck?
Yeah, in Civil War, he was brilliant in Civil War. I thought they got the kind of smart arse kind of quips that he was doing when he was fighting, I think it was Falcon and Bucky. Thought that was quite good, and I hope Homecoming isn't another kind of origin story. I don't think they're going to do it like that because I think they've done it twice already. I don't think
there's only so many ways that you can see his uncle die.
Poor Uncle Ben.
I know. He had such money to spend with his rice business as well.
And he changed colours as well.
Yeah. No, he was one of the biggest plus points of the Civil War movie. I think he stole the show from the moment he came in. He was really funny, really witty. They've got the age right as well. I think he became a little in the other franchises when he was kind of in the big city working, etc., etc. I like this age where he's at school and he can be a bit sillier and not be as familiar with his craft, so to speak. I'm definitely looking forward to this.
That bit right anyway.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I'm liking the movies that intertwines the other Avengers stories. I don't want it to be as heavy as the Captain America movie, where it's just basically another Avenger movie. But I like when they turn up now and again. I'd quite like to see Ant-Man or somebody just kind of turn up in this one.
Yeah, I think Ant-Man, I've watched the Ant-Man film loads of times. I think that was one of the better Marvel films because it kind of flew under the radar and not many people were like, oh, it's Ant-Man. I thought the film was actually brilliant, and I thought he was great in Civil War as well, especially when he turned into the Giant Man.
Yeah, that was a turn that I never saw. I never saw that coming when he was going to become Giant Man. That was brilliant.
Yeah, and then Spider-Man does the whole Empire Strikes Back, wraps his things around its leg. Remember, he even said it in the film. So I think they've got it right with him this time. Aunt May's a bit young.
Well, yeah, she was a bit young and a bit hot. Yeah.
Yeah, and as you said, like, in being in school, it can be kind of silly, and no one will really care because he's in school, and teenagers are silly creatures.
Definitely, and I like the fact that they've given him like a little sidekick in the movie that he can mess around with, and that'll be fun. Michael Keaton appears to be playing the bad guy. I'm not sure what the name of Is that what it was? I didn't pick that up in the trailer.
In the comics and the cartoons, he's supposed to be a really old guy that can drain people's youth and turns him young. But obviously in this one, they're not going to go down that route. I think he's an ex-Stark employee or something like that. Or
okay, as long as they focus on the one bad guy in the movie, because I think sometimes the Spider-Man movies have had too many bad guys.
I think the third one in Tobey Maguire, what was it, Venom? There was Green Goblin and there was Sandman or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of didn't turn out the best anyway, so.
Yeah, so I'm hoping it's, in terms of success, it's more like Ant-Man than, say, Doctor Strange, because that was a hard watch.
Really? I thought it was very good.
I think it was just the way it was shot, and, I think it's just because of the nature of the character and the fact that, the scene would flip round, and it was just kind of hard to get your head around, and maybe I should have watched it a couple of times.
Inception or something.
Yeah. My old eyes don't work so well with things like that.
I think they're going down that mystical route now as well in some films. So I think it was a good way for them to bring that kind of element of the Marvel universe out, as he's probably the most famous magic user, him and Scarlet Witch. So hopefully them two kind of have a student-pupil thing going on the next Avengers film. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like I said, I'm a Marvel mark, so any film that involves all of them, are big thumbs up. I'm looking forward to the way that the Avenger movies pan out. I'm not as familiar with the comic book storylines in terms of the Infinity Stones. I watch a lot of the TV series with my son, but I'm really looking forward to see how this movie will be part of that storytelling. Paul, do you think you'll be taking a trip to see Spider-Man?
I didn't do my homework on this one. I think I missed the I missed the question. I didn't realize there was a Spider-Man trailer. So no, I don't think I'll be watching it.
Okay, not to worry. Maybe you can catch up with it after this and let us know next time out what you thought.
Oh well, I think I need a top superhero films list from you guys that I can start learning my way through the universe.
Definitely, I think it's one thing that we need to do. As we've said, we want to kind of do some podcasts that do some lists, and I've got an idea for how we can break ourselves in gently with that later on. Okie doke. Should we? We've covered movies quite considerably. It's been an interesting chat. There's a lot of movies coming out this year, a lot of areas in the kind of sci-fi genre, and lots of high-profile kids movies coming out. So I think over the next coming weeks we'll probably be talking about a lot more, and probably reviewing some of these movies in particular after we've had the chance to see them.
I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to throw one out there. What film do you want to see made that hasn't been made yet?
Ooh.
In terms of superheroes
or anything at all. Clean deck.
I've seen a Smurf movie before. I don't know. I have to think about that one. I'll let Paul go first.
Well, the one I'll go for is because my daughter's such a fan, and that's a standalone Widow movie.
Black Widow?
Yeah. Just because it's the one always goes on about, and she complains whenever we go into Disney shop that they never have anything that's just kind of Black Widow. So I think that she would really enjoy a movie that's just on her, another kind of strong female superhero character. So that's probably the one I'd go for.
Okay. Superhero. Well, I got a Deadpool film, so that was one crossed off the list, but I think probably the next one, a decent Venom film. Venom is Spider-Man, one of Spider-Man's enemies, but he's like an alien symbiote and is a crazy lunatic. And he was in Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire, but that was a terrible picture of, terrible acting and terrible for him to be in that in the first place. And if he did that, then he could do a Carnage film. So there's a lot of scope that he can do, but just hopefully that Spider-Man can go back to Marvel at some stage so he can do all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And like you say, you're getting your Aquaman movie, so that probably would have been on your list if we asked a few years ago.
Hopefully, if DC don't explode by then.
Has it been made, or is it in?
I think they're starting it in November down in Australia, I think.
Okay, so if Justice League flops, then it could consider, it could be thrown to the wayside.
It could be, but I don't know. I think they're going to make a buckload of money on Justice League anyway, so I think that could fund the next few films like Cyborg and The Flash and Aquaman and probably the second Superman film, and the Batman film that's supposed to be getting made. So there's a lot of scope for them to do that. But I'd like a Venom film.
Yeah. Awesome. Does that answer your question?
It does, yeah. Good answers, yeah. What I'd like to see, obviously Disney are doing a lot of the live action films now, turning their animated classics into live action. I think The Little Mermaid could be insane as a live action film.
With or without Lindsay Lohan?
Yeah, you could have Lindsay Lohan, yeah. She'd be perfect.
Yeah, doesn't she want to play Ariel in the live action one?
Does she?
I think I've seen conversations around it. Yeah, that it's one of the ones that they're talking about doing. I think there's a lot of scope for the Disney movie cartoons to be live action. You know, what with Beauty and the Beast and the other ones that they've done.
The Lion King is coming out soon as well, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, Lion King's next. I think The Little Mermaid could be a really dark film if they could go down that route.
Yeah, well, it was fairly dark in parts in the cartoon with her losing her voice and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Beauty and the Beast, some of that was kind of dark. I watched that with my daughter and I was quite surprised.
No, I've not seen Jungle Book and that.
The Jungle Book is a...
Well, the thing is, a lot of the children's stories do have their dark edges. You know, even if you read Mary Poppins and those kind of things, even the Roald Dahl books, they all have those elements.
That's because the original stories were quite dark. If you read the original ones from Germany or whatever they were from, the Brothers Grimm books and stuff, they are fairly dark.
Yeah, like Hansel and Gretel with it's all kids being put in ovens and their bones ground down. I did want to discuss TV and have a chat about that, but it might be wise if we save that, because I wanted to talk about how we consume TV and you know the different ways that we watch shows nowadays across the different platforms. So it might be that's a conversation that we save for another podcast. There was one area that I wanted to cover with the two of you, which is a topic of conversation that I would like to do moving forward for our podcast, which is around the lists. And we all love to make lists. We all love to kind of look back on the past and remember better days. I'm not saying that now is particularly horrible. There are some people who like the current version of the world that we are living through. But I wanted to do a kind of best ever podcast where we did what your best ever is. So I throw a topic out there, and you normally you would put some thought into it, and then we can have a round table discussion on what you think your best ever is. Tonight I would thought that we could just do a quick fire few minutes where I have a few topics, and off the top of your heads you tell me what you think the best ever is. This is just your answer for tonight. Not to say that if we come back and do another podcast that you can't change your mind and back up that with valid reasoning, but just based on the questions tonight. How does that sound? You've got 5 minutes to do that?
Sounds
good.
Shoot.
Okay, well, we'll start with one that's probably not very easy to answer, and that's best ever gaming console.
Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo. Yay!
Unanimous.
I went with exactly the same. Wow, I thought that we would all come up with different answers. Definitely Super Nintendo. A lot of that is around the memories that it brings back about playing with family and all kind of getting around the TV on a Sunday afternoon and playing Mario Kart and things like that. Whereas that doesn't seem to happen nowadays. I don't get anywhere near my Xbox. My son's 6 years old and plays Minecraft constantly. Yeah, definitely Super Nintendo for me. So, great. Best ever pizza topping.
Pepperoni.
Just one topping, or can I make the whole pizza?
The whole pizza. Come on.
I like a smoky barbecue sauce. Well, let's just say a meteor from Domino's.
Yeah, meat feast.
See, I'm the complete opposite. I'm gonna be all arsey about it. But when I was younger, I spent a lot of time in Italy, and it was a really, really thin crust, basic. So you only have kind of cheese and tomato, and then maybe one or two other toppings. So it would be cheese and tomato with ham, and then kind of fresh rocket leaf over the top, which does make me sound like
pineapple. I was just turning the phone off.
That didn't even make me hungry.
I was thinking about saying pineapple because I know that on the discussion chats that we've had before, people have thrown their arms up in disgust whenever we mention pineapple, and people leave for a while. Yeah,
I like pineapple on a pizza.
Really, you're gonna say that out loud?
Yeah, I like pineapple on a pizza. I like a Hawaiian.
You disgust me.
It's no meteor. But it's better than rocket leaf and whatever Paul had on his non-pizza.
Well, ask Richard Hudson this. It'd be unicorn tears sliced with angel dust or something, some kind of weird posh food or something.
Essence of artichoke.
Dredging up.
Probably. You'd have been disgusted, Dec. I went for a pizza the other week, and it was sold as a skinny pizza. Which I thought, I go to the gym a lot, so maybe I should be going for a skinny pizza. And essentially it was a pizza with the middle cut out.
That bagel?
Yeah, it was just the outside of a pizza with a salad in the middle.
That's ridiculous.
Can you imagine? People would have slammed the plate down and stormed out of the restaurant. But I ate it gleefully and thanked them and gave them a massive tip.
Yeah, put the middle back on the pizza.
Okie doke. Next one. Best ever wrestling finishing move.
Stone Cold Stunner.
Yeah, I was going to say the Stunner as well.
See, I'm going to go with Tombstone.
Okay.
Just the iconicness. I think the Stone Cold Stunner was just so overused, and he would just hit it on everyone. It just became ridiculous after the end. Where the Tombstone was really.
Didn't he steal that off Mikey Whipwreck? Or did I hear that wrong off someone? When he was in ECW, that was Mikey Whipwreck's finishing move or something, and he decided to take it on him.
The Stunner?
Yeah, except he does it off, I think he does it off the top rope or something. When they're on the top rope, it's kind of like a stunner or that thing that Spike Dudley used to do, kind of in between them two.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I don't know. I'll have to have a look. The best ever stunner is obviously the one we did on Vince McMahon, which McMahon just crumples to the floor and no sells completely.
I've got a favourite ever Stone Cold Stunner, and there's one that happened at one of the old British events that you could buy on Box Office, but they weren't officially a pay-per-view. And he stunners Shane McMahon, and as he does it, someone throws a fake set of boobs into the crowd, and into the ring from the crowd, and it looks like it comes out of Shane McMahon's shirt as he gets stunned. It's brilliant.
Is that James Tooze, was it?
I love the way that you have to say a fake set of boobs, like somebody would be able to throw a real set of boobs into the JR and just like, oh my god.
Slobber knockers.
I used to like the ones he did on The Rock, and The Rock oversold and flip-flopped all over the place, and it looked totally ridiculous, but it was brilliant.
There's some great YouTube compilation videos of those stunners that he hit on Rock, and he just flip-flops around the ring like a wet fish. Brilliant. It's like match where Shawn Michaels, I knew we'd get onto wrestling, but what was the match where Shawn Michaels completely oversold every single move?
Against Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Because Hogan wouldn't put him over, so he just made the match just as ridiculous as he could make it.
That just made it more brilliant. And obviously, Will Ospreay makes a living off that now.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Now you know how I feel with all that superhero chat.
Okie doke. We'll do one more because it's been good so far. Best ever children's TV program.
Oh Jesus. That's not the name of the show.
Yeah, I was thinking, is that one was only in Ireland?
Religion television.
They've got a more religious edge on their children's TV programs in Ireland than we do.
Like one of those kind of black sitcoms. Oh, Jesus!
Yeah. Oh, Hail Mary, Mother of God. That was another one. That was the follow-up.
Jesus, what was it?
This is a difficult one.
There were so many when I was growing up, like in the 80s, was kind of the golden era of brilliant children's television.
Come on. 3. You got 5 seconds just to fire one off. I'm not going to...
Because I'm put in the corner with my back against the wall, I'm going to have to go Turtles.
Okay. I didn't see that one.
I'd go with Mask.
Ah. I completely forgot about Mask.
I was a huge Mask fan. I used to have all the little cars and figures when I was younger. So I'll go with that for now.
Me too. I was a massive Mask fan, and when I came up to the northeast from London, I was telling everyone about being such a massive Mask fan when I was a kid, and they just looked at me like I was absolutely mental because they'd never ever heard of it. I don't think it was ever on Tyne Tees TV or whatever the TV channels were in the northeast of England.
You probably tell you're talking about that film with your man with the mad face.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a Transformers. Obviously ruined by the film franchise and Michael Bay over time, but just because I had everything, all the toys, everything I could get on Transformers, so that's my best ever. But I think that's one of the categories that when we do the podcast in a bit more detail, we will probably talk about, because I think everyone will have a different view on their best ever children's TV program. But no, that was good. I think. Do you think
a spin-off with the best what's out now? Because I watch a lot of cartoons with my kids as well, so there's some great cracking cartoons out these days as well. So
there's some mental ones though as well. There's some that I watch with my kids and I have no idea what's going on, and some of them are hypnotic. You just can't take your eyes off the TV. It's ridiculous.
They're probably the ones I like.
Yeah, the normal, Teletubbies is weird enough. What's the one with the in the Night Garden with the Ninky Nonk and the Pinky Ponk and all that kind of malarkey? And then as they get a bit older, they've got there's one called Gravity Falls, which I was really into that. I was recording that on Sky Plus and everything, and my kids weren't even in, and I was watching that.
There's loads of hidden codes and messages in that.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
I read about it online.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think that format going to be a winner. I think that worked quite well. And I had a list of kind of 20, 25 best evers that I could easily rattle through, and I think the list is almost endless. You could pick any topic as obscure as you like and have a best ever on it. Best ever cheese, best ever superhero, best ever Batman, even if you want to go down to that minutiae of detail. But it's been really interesting tonight. I've really enjoyed it. Hope you lot have too. This has been a different edition of a Five Nerds Go podcast. Thank you, Dec and Paul, for joining us. As ever, if you want to learn more about Five Nerds Go, we've got a Facebook page, Five Nerds Go. We've got a Twitter feed at Five Nerds Go, where you'll be able to find kind of regular updates from us. A blog about Japanese wrestling, I think, is one of the most read items that we have. I don't know who does that. He's a very well learned person and a very good writer, whoever he is.
It's big in Israel.
I heard
he is big in Israel, yeah.
I heard he eats pineapple on his pizza, so he's a bit weird.
Yeah, he's a little bit weird, yeah. And there's lots more coming, so hopefully this is going to be the start of the content that's going to be coming out over the next few weeks. We will make a massive effort to do as much as possible. So please follow, like us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, check out our YouTube channel. We have been the Five Nerds Go, and good night.